Hi everybody, in this video lecture we are going to discuss about tuples. Tuples are also sequences defined in Python as list and strings. Already we have discussed that the sequences defined in Python are broadly classified into mutable sequences and immutable sequences, right? Mutable sequences means the elements of the sequence can be changed. That is what is called mutable sequences. And immutable sequences means the elements in the sequence cannot be changed. Tuple comes under immutable sequences. They are similar to list. List means we can use to store it a collection of elements. The elements can be of heterogeneous type. All the properties comes to tuples also, and the operations that can be performed with tuples are also going to be similar to list, right? So we will see what is the need of tuples with this problem. Consider this problem. A hospital has received a set of lab reports. Okay, totally 5 tests were conducted in the lab and report is prepared. The report consists of name of the test and the value observed for that particular patient. Given the details of the test made for a patient, write an algorithm and the subsequent Python program to print if the result is normal or not normal by referring the values in the table 1. Since the value is sensitive, provide a mechanism so that the values do not get altered. Right? So what is given in this problem is you will be given a lab report of a particular patient. For that patient, they can conduct a number of tests and the result of the test is given to you. You have to say whether the values, that is the particular test value, is normal or abnormal. That is what is expected from this program, right? So when you see the this is the table given. Totally there are 5 tests and minimum value, maximum value. That is for test 1 the patient can have a value from 20 to 30. That is the meaning. For test 2 the patient can have a value from 35 to 40 to be normal. If he is having a value less than 35.5 or greater than 40, then he is said to have abnormal condition for this particular test, right? So what is the PAC for this particular problem is, you see what is the input is test name. First of all we have to know what are all the tests conducted in the lab and the range of values in which that particular test will be said to be having a normal value, right? So you see the input is test name and a pair of value indicating the minimum and the maximum value for the 5 tests. That is, you have to first of all, now when we manually do, we see this table and we are going to say whether it is normal or not. But when you are going to code it, first of all we have to read the table values and store it. And then you will read the real value for the patient, for one particular patient, what is the reading for test 1, test 2, like that, and then you will compare and say whether it is normal or abnormal. Okay, so first of all you have to know what are all the tests that is being conducted in the lab and the pair of normal value, normal range of values. That is, what is the minimum value that should be there for that particular test and what is the maximum value, right? So we have been given in the problem that totally there are only 5 tests conducted in the lab, right? So you are reading the 5 test name and the pair of minimum and the maximum value, and then name of the test for a particular patient and the value observed. And what is the processing involved is you have to check whether the observed value is in the range of the permissible value, right? That is how we refer the table manually and see that you must code it, and then you will print normal if it is in range and you will print abnormal if it is not in range, right? So the output will be print normal or abnormal. So this is the pseudocode for the lab test problem. So you are going to repeat this 5 times. You are going to read the test name, you are going to read the minimum value for this particular test, you will read the maximum value for this particular test, and then you have to map this with the name. That is, the range of values must be mapped to the particular test. That is what we have to do. And then you are reading the name of the test for a particular patient, and then you have to read the observed value, and then you are going to say whether he is normal or not, right? So you are checking here. If observed value for that particular patient is greater than the minimum test and is less than the maximum, then you are going to print normal. Otherwise, you are going to print abnormal, right? So, and the constraint given in this problem is the value stored should not be modified. Okay, so you need a immutable sequence to solve this problem, right? So we have already seen in Python how to read the values, and also we have seen how to map a value to another, that is using dictionary you can map one value to another, and also we know how to print values, and then we know how to form a pair of values. You can use list to form a pair of values. That is, for a particular test I have to say this is the minimum, this is the maximum. The best way is to pair them and map them. That is the idea I am having. So you are going to pair the minimum and the maximum value, and you are going to map it to the test name. That is the idea. So how you can form the pair of values is already we have seen about list, but the values can be changed. When we were discussing list, we saw that it is a mutable sequence, so the values can be changed. In this particular problem they have mentioned that the values must not be changed. There are two uses for tuples, you can say in any way. One is when you want to have a sequence that should not be altered but have to behave like list, we can go for tuples, right? Another one case is you can go for tuples when you want to have some nested structures, right? I want to have a sequence within a sequence and I will not modify it, means then you can go for tuples, right? So we are yet to learn about pairing values that cannot be modified. That's what we are going to see. So tuples are going to be sequence of immutable Python objects. As I already said, it cannot be modified. And how we are going to represent tuples is, we already saying that square bracket is used for storing a list, curly braces are used for and representing dictionary, and we are going to use parenthesis for representing tuples. Okay, we have already seen that list is using square brackets. These tuples are going to use parentheses. So creating tuple is as simple as putting just different commas, and optionally you can use a parenthesis also. That is, you can have just a number of values just separated by comma. This is also a tuple, and generally we put a parenthesis around it to make it more clear. Okay, have a good view, we will put it within the parenthesis, but you can also just put like this: a comma, b comma, c comma, d. Then it will form a tuple with 4 elements, right? These are the different tuples that is formed. And how do we represent empty tuple? Is just empty parenthesis, right? That is how we represent. But there is a small difference when we are going to have only one element in a tuple. Okay, because if we just put as a equal to 50 within parenthesis, 50 is one element of the tuple. If I just put within the parenthesis, then the Python compiler may get confused whether this is an expression, because we will use parenthesis around numerical values to represent a valid expression, arithmetic expression also. So to differentiate, we have to put a comma. This is how we represent a tuple with only one element. And when you see there are much similarities tuples have with list. So we see here tuple index also starts with, it is having index, right? Whereas dictionary is unordered collection, this is an ordered collection. So each element in the tuple will have a index, right? So and the index starts at 0 as similar to list. So now consider this tuple 1. The first element in this tuple is physics, right? So when I am going to say tuple 1 of 0, it will print physics. And when you see tuple 2, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is at index 0. This is at index 1, and so on. This 5 element is at index 4, right? So when I am going to say like this, everything, whatever we do with list, indexing, slicing, everything is possible with tuples also, but there are small differences since this is a immutable sequence. That's what we are going to discuss. Okay, so otherwise it is much similar to list. So you see here it is given 1 to 5, right? So 1 to 5 means we will include the element from index 1 and you will stop it when the index reaches 4. That is, I am going to include element at index 1, 2, 3, 4 in the tuple top 2, right? In top 2 we have 1 to 5, right? So we are expecting to extract the element 2, 3, 4, 5. That is what it will print when you are going to give like this, right? And as I said, the actions are going to be similar. So I can use a plus operator for concatenating two tuples, right? So 1, 2 plus 3, 4 will be 1, 2, 3, 4. And for repetition, this is common. As we do for strings, list, everything, you can just put into 4. Into 4 means it will just repeat 4 times the values. And indexing and slicing also same. So T is a tuple with 4 elements. This is the element at index 0. So when I say t of 0, I get 1, comma, t of 1, 3, right? So in index 1 is 2 and index 2 is 3. We have to include only two things. We know that we will give, when we do slicing, we will give one value more than the end index, right? So when I say 3, I have to stop when I reach 2. So I will include two elements, 2 comma 3, right? So this is the output of this particular thing, t of 0. When you just put comma, automatically tuple will be formed. So when you see the output, you say that parentheses come around the values, right? T of 0 is 1 and t of 1, 3 is, it is a subtuple. I can say like this, it's like a subtuple with only two elements which are at index 1 and 2, right? So we can also sort a set of tuples, but you cannot directly sort it, you can sort it, but the result what you get will not be a tuple, rather it will be a list. So you see here, you are having a list AB, AA, BB, CC, D. I want to sort this, means first of all I can convert them to a tuple. Okay, just this is to give a demo of how you can sort a tuple. So we are just forming a tuple. When you use this tuple of TMP, this list will be converted to a tuple, right? When you just print in the interactive mode, when you just say the name of the tuple T, it will print, and then you are using the sorted method of the as we have in list, we are having a sorted method for tuples also. So you are saying sorted of T, right? It will convert internally to a list and it will produce only a list. Suppose if you want to convert this list back to a tuple, then once again use this particular method tuple. Then this list will be converted to a tuple again, right? And then already we have seen about list comprehensions. What are list comprehensions are going to be short way of writing a code on Python, right? So it will be much easier, and you can just see a demo here. Already we have seen that if you have a list of items, you can form a new list by using list comprehensions. Now we are going to see that if you have a tuple, right? Now I have a tuple T with 5 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Now I am going to form a list. How I am going to form a list is, I am just going to add 20 to each of the element, and I will form a new list, right? So I want to have the list with 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. How I can do is, you just see for x in T. When I say like this, the element one by one will be automatically taken by Python, and you say that x plus 20, right? So first it will take 1 and it will add 20. So the list will be appended with 21, right? Next 2 will be taken from the tuple and it will be added with 20. So you will get 22. Already 21 is there. So now the list will have 21 and 22. Then 3 will be added to 20, 21, 22, 23. 4, 21, 22, 23, 24 and 25 also added in the similar way, right? And the equivalent code for this in Python will be, if you have a empty list. This is empty list. It's looking like a rectangle, but it is a 2 square brackets are put together, right? For x and t, you are saying L dot append of x plus 20. Suppose if you have already a tuple with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you can say L dot append of x plus 20. Then you will get both are equivalent, right? And these indexing already, this is index method. As we have in list, we have index method in tuple also. That is, if you give a particular element in the tuple, then this particular system will return this particular function will return the index offset where this value occurs for the first time. So when I say 1, 2, 3, so you can see that there are duplicate values here, and when I say index of 2, 1 is written because 1 is the index where it occurs first. 1 is written, but this index method can take more than one parameter also. That is the second parameter. It can take 2 parameters also. If it is taking 2 parameters, the second parameter indicates the offset from where the search has to begin, right? So for example, if I want to see the occurrence after the index 2, then that is after, this is at index 0, this is at index 1, 2. Suppose I want to see the index after 2, then from 2, not after 2, from 2, then I can use this 2 comma 2, right? So I will say that in the index 3 this particular element occurs. Then also you can use this count function. Count function, as we have in list, you have in tuples also. So I can use this count function to find out how many times a particular value occurs. So now we will see just a demo for this particular concept. So now you have a tuple. Just if I say f equal to, right, t dot index of 2, right? If I say like this, I can print f and see it returns 1, right? Now suppose I want to see the second occurrence, place of second occurrence of that, of the value 2, then what I can do is s equal to t dot index of, t dot index of, I want to find out from the value 2, I want to find out the value 2, and then can you see here something is popping off? You can see that this is value. Actually this is the help provided by Python, right? So this index method takes value. Value is the first parameter, and you see that something is given within square bracket. So when you see some syntax within square bracket, it means that they are optional values. Okay, so only we are able to use this index function with only one parameter also, because other things are optional. You can either give or may not give, right? So see here, there are two optional parameters that can be taken by this index method. First one is start and the next one is stop. These are going to be the indexes, right? Now already I have seen the first occurrence of the value 2. We have seen that it is at index 1. Now I am going to see the second occurrence. I want to know the second occurrence of that particular value 2. So how I can do is I can start search after the first occurrence. So I am going to say 2 comma f, right? So don't search from the first position of the tuple, rather search it from the position after the first occurrence. Okay, that is, don't start searching from the offset 0, but rather start from the offset of the first occurrence of the element. That is what we are trying to say here. So it will return okay, so I will give f plus 1, right? If I say yes, so when I give f, actually it sees from that particular position, not after, from that particular position. So you can see that if I give f plus 1, that is, f is the position where that particular element occurred for the first time, that is 1. So I am giving search from the next position, right? So it is saying that 3. Okay, this is 0, 1, 2, 3. This is the second occurrence. Suppose if I want to see the third occurrence, then I will say t equal to, instead of saying f plus 1, now you say s plus 1. Okay, start searching from the index after the second occurrence, right? So you will see that if I print, it is 5, because this is the third occurrence, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So this is how you can just work and find out the different occurrences of a particular element in a tuple, right? And also you can count, as I said, you can see how many 2's are occurring, right? Next, you can also nest tuple. When we say nested structures, it means that one structure can be put inside another structure. That is, I can put one sequence inside another sequence. So you can see here, now I have formed a new tuple, right? The first element is integer, second element is a list, okay, and the third element is a integer, right? And when you are trying to do like this, see here, I will say already we have seen that tuples are immutable sequences. That is, you cannot change one of the element of the tuple, right? You cannot change, right? So when I say t of 1 equal to spam, you are trying to change this particular value to spam. That is not possible. You will get a error, right? As expected. But if I am going to say t of 1 of 0 equal to spam, it will work, because t of 1 is a list. And of 0, when I say I am going inside the list, we know that lists are mutable sequences, right? So when I say t of 1, I am in the tuple, but when I say of 0, I am going into the second element of the tuple. When I go into the second element of the tuple, I find there is a list, and lists are mutable, right? So it will permit you to change. So the first element of the list will be changed to spam. Initially it was 2, now it will print that 1 comma a list with 2 elements, spam and 3, and the other element is 4, which was previously there. Understood? Right? And when you say tuple records, you can also have like this, right? I'm having a new tuple Bob in which I'm storing the name. The difference is here small b, here capital B, I'm just using it, and then 40.5, and then list of some values, right? I can use B, Bob of 0. Bob of 0 means the first element Bob will be printed. Bob of 2 means it is at 1, this is at 2, right? So I will get the list of values, right? You can access using positions. And also there is a relationship between dictionaries and tuples, right? So I can use like this is possible, right? So dict of name equal to Bob comma age equal to, like this I can say, so that I can form a dictionary, right? And I can retrieve. When I'm going to retrieve from the dictionary, I have to use only the key value. We have already discussed that dictionaries have a pair of values. For each element or for each item in the dictionary, we will have a pair of values, and the first value is called key and the other value is called value, and they have a mapping, key and the value pair, right? So you see here, when I say Bob of name, I get the name of the person Bob, and Bob of job, I get the jobs whatever, that is list of values, right? And you can also use like this tuple of Bob of values. Already we have seen while discussing dictionaries, we have seen that I can use the keys function as well as values function. When I say the keys function, it will return the sequence of keys, right? When I say values, I will get the sequence of values. We saw in the previous class that list of Bob, that is dictionary.keys means dictionary name.keys means it will return a sequence and you're converting that to a list. Similarly, you can also convert that to a tuple, right? So tuple of Bob is the name of the dictionary, dot values means it will retrieve all the values of this particular dictionary and it will be converted to tuple, right? List of Bob of items, right? Items means it will retrieve both the keys and the values. So you see here, you will, when you say items, it will form tuples, right? Tuples first value will indicate the key. Here in this case it's job, and the next value, first that's the second value of the tuple will be the value assigned for that particular key. So you have a list of values, right? And here name is going to be Bob, age is going to be 40.5, right? And when you see the using tuples, right, it's immutable means you cannot update, and change of elements is not possible, right? So if I have a tuple like this, I cannot say of 0 equal to 100, I will get only error, right? But you can change the tuple, okay, as such. As we discussed for strings, if I have s equal to apple, I cannot say s of 0 equal to something or s of 1 equal to something, but I can say s equal to bat. That is accepted, right? So as a whole you can change. As I have said you, it is like you're taking a house for rent. You cannot delete or you cannot destruct a room and you can change it, but as a whole you can change a house, right? It is equivalent to that, right? And also you can say tuple of 3 equal to tuple of 1 plus 2. Concatenation is possible, and today we have discussed, that is what is demonstrated here. And then next is delete tuple elements. Removing individual elements is not possible. As it is not possible in strings, here also you cannot remove a particular element in the tuple, but as such you can delete the tuple. So for example, that is I am having here, you can just see a demo for this, right? So you're having here, right? Now if I type as tube, it will print the details, right? Whatever is there. Next I say del of tup, right? You say del of tup, and then you try to print, you will get a error because this is totally removed, okay? Totally the tuple is removed, so you will get a error if you are trying to print, right? So this is just a table showing what are all the operations. Len will say the number of elements in the tuple, and this is for concatenation. Already we have seen this is for repetition, right? In operator as it is working for strings as well as for list, it will also work for tuples, right? And this is how you can iterate through the tuples. As we iterate through the string, as we iterate through the list, you can also iterate through the tuples, right? And then indexing and slicing, this is just a recall. As we index list of elements, strings, that is basically there are two types of indexing in Python for strings, list, etc. That is forward indexing and reverse indexing. So in forward indexing, the first element will have the index as 0, second one will have the index as 0, and second element will have the index as 1, and so on. So the last element will have the index as n minus 1 when there are gain elements in the tuple, right? And reverse indexing will start with -1, and -1 will point to the last element, -2 will point to the one element previous to the last element, and so on. And the first element in reverse indexing will have a value as -n. Already we have seen about it. Similar to this, here also for tuples also you can just have L of -2, right? L of -2 will be -1 is this, -2 is this. So it will print span, right? And then you can have slicing also, as we do, right? These are just examples. And when we have numerical values, only numeric values in the tuple, this max of t1 and min of t1 also works. So max of t1 will say the maximum value in the tuple, and min of t1 will say the minimum value in the tuple. Please understand that this will work only when you have numerical values inside the tuple, right? And you can also convert a list to a tuple and tuple to a list. Just you use this conversion. Tuple of a list of elements will return a tuple. Similarly, I can say list of a tuple of elements will return me a list. Conversion between list and tuple is possible. This is the code explaining, or this is a working code for the problem what we discussed in the first slide, right? So initially I'm saying lab reading. I'm going to use a dictionary to represent the readings of the lab. It is empty. And then for the 5 test, I'm going to get the test name from the user, and then minimum value, I'm converting the minimum value to float, because we know that input gives only strings. Okay, we have to explicitly convert it into integer or float when it is appropriately required. Okay, so minimum equal to float of input, maximum equal to float of input, and then you are storing in the dictionary. I say lab reading of test name equal to min comma max. When I put them around the parenthesis, automatically a tuple is formed, right? So it is stored with that name, and then print lab reading. When I say, you will see the name of the test, everything will get printed. And then check test. Check test is the name of the test for which the patient has taken the test. Okay, one name is taken, and the observed value is also read from the user, right? And then you are going to see the range test, right? That is, what is the valid range of values for that particular test. This is like equivalent to referring the table manually. I showed in the second slide, isn't it? There is a table that is saying what is the minimum possible value and then what is the maximum possible value for that particular test. So now we have represented the table as a dictionary. So we are getting the valid range of values for that particular test from the dictionary, right? And you are the first value is minimum and the second value is maximum. We are using this type of denotation, isn't it? We are putting the first element as the minimum in the range and second one as the maximum, right? So you are doing this and you are checking here. This is a Python way of checking. If the observed value is greater than minimum and less than maximum, then you print as normal, otherwise you print as abnormal, right? This is about tuples, and you can also just work on the practice problems, and thank you, right?